Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. This is kind of a last second video idea. I wasn't planning on making a video today, but just a few days ago I watched probably the most famous Thanksgiving movie and one of the only Thanksgiving movies out there, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, of course, and I thought I would review it today because I have about an hour off, so I thought why not, I'll make a video and review this movie. And as I said, this is probably one of the most famous Thanksgiving movies, and for good reason. This movie is really funny. It stars Steve Martin and John Candy, two veterans, I guess you could say, in the comedy aspect of movies. They've pretty much only been in comedies. But if you guys don't know, this movie is basically about Steve Martin's character trying to get home for Thanksgiving with his family, and he meets up with John Candy along the way. They don't know each other. They just kind of, different things that happen to both of them just kind of bring them together throughout the movie. Like, they have a plane seat next to each other. John Candy at one point unintentionally steals Steve Martin's taxi at the beginning of the movie. So out of that sequence of events, they meet up with each other, end up getting a motel room, and John Candy is trying to help Steve Martin get back to his house for Thanksgiving. And this was a really funny movie, first of all. A lot of the jokes hit, and I think this is kind of a risky way to do comedy, because at some points I once seen they are in the motel room that I just mentioned, and Steve Martin is trying to go to sleep, and John Candy's character is just making a lot of weird noises. He's cracking his knuckles, he's trying to clear his throat. It's annoying Steve Martin's character, obviously, who's kind of a grouch throughout this movie. I'll talk about that more later. And it's, again, kind of a risky way to pull off that joke, because they ride on it for a while. Like, it goes on for 1 or 2 minutes continuously, and that could easily be a make or break situation for other people if a joke maybe gets old quick, and they do that once again for a couple minutes straight. So it may be funny at first for some people, and then it might get old. But I personally thought all of the jokes like that, they do that a lot throughout the movie. I thought they all landed, and I actually laughed more than I thought I would. I only have a few small flaws with the movie. One is Steve Martin is, once again, kind of grumpy throughout the whole movie. He's a businessman, and he doesn't like to, I forget what he says. He's not much of a talker, so when John Candy is trying to make conversation with him, Steve Martin's like, I don't really want to talk to you. He basically just flat out says that. And even later on in the movie, John Candy always says, you know, I think we make a good team, and then Steve Martin is like, not so much. And they split up multiple times throughout the movie. And that was one thing that I wasn't a huge fan of. It's fine if they split up once and it seems like they go their separate ways, but then of course they meet up again. That's something that I feel like they do too many times. Again, if they did it once, it would be fine. But there's one point, like kind of early on, maybe a bit before halfway, when they split up, they go separate ways once again, and it's like we know that they're going to come back at one point. So I think the movie rides that a bit too much. Like, oh, are they done? Are they actually not going to see each other again? But it's like, no, we know that they're going to come together again, and there's going to be some more comedy, because the movie would be over if they just went off on their own. I think they did that a bit too many times. Also, this movie is not exactly grounded in reality. There's a lot of silly things that happen. You know, like John Candy tries to flick a cigarette out the window, it lands on the back seat, like it ricochets and lands on the back seat of their rental car, and then at one point the rental car just goes up in flames, and they both look at it. They're sitting on John Candy's giant suitcase, and they turn around and they just kind of look at it and turn back the other way. There's moments like that that just wouldn't really happen in real life, and it wasn't a problem for me, but I could see it being a problem for other people, like it being a bit too, not over the top, but not realistic, I guess you could say. And it's hard to critique that. Again, I don't have a problem with it, but I could see other people maybe not loving it as much. So that's just, I guess, a heads up if you haven't seen this movie. Just be ready for that. It's like the Fast and Furious movies. If you're able to accept that, at least the newer movies, that it's pretty insane action and it defies the laws of physics, if you're able to accept that, then you'll have a good time with the movie. But if you're just sitting there nitpicking everything that goes on, like, oh, that car wouldn't be able to ride along that cliff in real life, it would fall in, but it happens in the movie, if you look at that and complain about it, then you won't enjoy the movie. But if you're able to accept it, then you will enjoy the movie. I said that in my Hobbs and Shaw review that I did like a year back. And the same kind of goes with this movie. You just have to accept the silly things that happen throughout this movie, and you'll have a good time, which I did. And then the ending is actually pretty sad to my surprise. Basically, John Candy, I kind of expected this. I kind of called this little twist about halfway through the movie because he has a picture of his wife, and he never explicitly says that his wife is dead. He just tells Steve Martin, oh, I haven't been home in years, and, you know, I love my wife, and we've been married for this amount of years, and stuff like that. And I kind of expected that she is dead. But yeah, kind of the twist of the movie is John Candy has no wife, he has no home, he's a drifter pretty much, and that's why he has that giant suitcase, because that's all he has pretty much. So it's a really great ending when Steve Martin goes back to, I believe it's just the train station. He's thinking about the things that John Candy said to him earlier in the movie. So in the end of the movie, Steve Martin brings John Candy to his house, introduces him to his kids, his wife, and I think like his dad, mom, and father-in-law and mother-in-law and all of them. And we have a freeze frame on John Candy's face. He's smiling, he's happy, and oh my god, it just makes it... It is kind of a sad ending, and but it's a happy ending at the same time. Like it brings a little tear to your eye, and it could trickle down your face, but then you know that they ended up okay. And the whole point of the movie was them getting home for Thanksgiving, and they accomplished that. This was a really good movie, and definitely the best Thanksgiving movie out there, even though there are really not that many Thanksgiving movies. But I overall really enjoyed this movie. It was really funny. It had a heartfelt story at the end, and for that reason, I'm going to give Planes, Trains, and Automobiles a 9.5 out of 10. If you have not seen this movie, definitely watch it. It's a holiday classic for a reason, and thank you all so much for watching this video here. I hope you all enjoyed it. Happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.